Okay, I just deleted the last 5 minutes because they were still talking about their stupid board meeting protocols that nobody gives a shit about. And I just deleted it. So now they're going to start talking about the interstate bridge, which is what I want to hear. The biggest pork barrel since what? I think it's the biggest pork barrel since everything. I don't think there's been a bigger pork barrel.
Let me unmute myself here. Thank you, President Simmons.
We're going to smile there. He's smiling.
Let me take a moment and say that the I-5 bridge provides a critical connection between Oregon and Washington. The Interstate Bridge Replacement Project is vital to supporting local travel, jobs, trade, and regional economies. The new bridge will include transit.
See him reading it off his computer screen. He can't do anything off the top of his head.
To help address our region's climate and equity goals by making it
Your
easier
equity
for
goals?
more
What the
people to
fuck
get
does the
around
bridge have to do with equity? What the fuck does the bridge have to do with climate? Why do they keep pushing this shit down our throat?
without a car? There's been a
Without a
tremendous...
car, you don't have any transit system. There's no transit system. You people shut up and stop lying. There's no transit. Cars are king, and they will be king forever because we don't have any viable transit anywhere.
Amount of work and community outreach done by our IBR team to identify a modified, locally preferred alternative for the new bridge.
Right, and they've determined, of course, that the frail light rail, that piece of crap light rail that breaks down 3 times a day, is their preferred alternative. Of course, you know, that's the light rail mafia making those decisions. And all the contractors and the planners, all of these insiders making all these decisions. You get no say in any of this. It's a big joke.
I want to hand it over to...
Yeah, hand it over, Sam. Hand it over, because we know you don't know anything.
...of Engineering, Construction, and Planning, if he's on here, Steve Witter. And I'm going to have
Greg Johnson.
him...
They have all these black people in charge of all these. They put all these black faces and minority faces in charge of all of these pork barrel projects, as if that's going to, somehow that will justify something more than it used to. Here, let's add all these minority figures in, and we'll pretend that actually means anything when we know it doesn't mean anything at all.
For this briefing.
Sam, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
President Simmons, General Manager to Sue, I'm actually on the trustee number 17 on my way to Trimet World Headquarters.
Where is it?
So I'll try to make my comments brief. As Sam sort of indicated how important this project really is to the region and you know, our 2 states and the West Coast, Trimet's been a partner in this project from the very beginning. And back to the...
Yeah, back when they wasted $250 million, and then they found out the bridge wasn't tall enough, as if they didn't know that. Okay, this is a crime syndicate. Will you please wake up and understand? These are crime syndicates operating in plain sight, taking your tax money and redistributing it. That's what it is.
CRC project, which was our first engagement in trying to replace the bridge. Trimet was a significant partner. We had designed a light rail system in the city of Vancouver, and we had worked our way through the federal process. So here we are 10 years later. The project is back. Greg Johnson, the project administrator for the Interstate Bridge Replacement Project, is here along with John Willis, who is the program manager for the consultant team.
The consultant team, each one of them are making a $200,000 plus a year, doing nothing but planning this bridge.
I suppose this is my introduction of my handoff, Greg. So I'll give it to you in the presentation, and I hope to be back on video here in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you, General Manager to Sue.
Here he is. He's up here.
For President and members of the Trimet Board. It's our pleasure to be here presenting to you. As we are approaching a key milestone for the Interstate Bridge Program. So once again, I'm Greg Johnson. I'm the program administrator for the Interstate Bridge Replacement Program.
I bet you he's making like $500,000 a year.
let's go to the next slide, please. So this is our overall timeline, and we show this for several reasons. And one of the reasons is that folks are saying that we are rushing to get to an answer. This project has been discussed for over a quarter of a century. The CRC started in 2004, but discussions were going on about the need to replace this bridge 10 years before that. So when folks say we're rushing to get to an answer, that is not correct. This project has been around and known of and discussed for a lot of years. So once again, the program was relaunched after the CRC ended in 2014. The governors dubbed it the Interstate Bridge Replacement Program. I was brought on board in July of 2020, and we have been walking our way through the planning and environmental phases. And that gray dot in the middle is where we are currently. We have identified a recommended modified locally preferred alternative, or LPA, that we are now taking to partner boards and councils for input and endorsement to move forward. So if we are successful, and we are successful in front of the Oregon legislature next year in matching what the Washington legislature has done, that will move us in 2024 into a pre-construction or early design phase with actual construction slated to begin in sometime in late 2025, with overall construction being wrapped up in 2032, 2033. So once again, the more delay, the more time that it takes. That time period from when the CRC ended has cost this region approximately $1 billion worth of inflated costs to now get this thing done. So when folks are talking about time truly is money in this instance. We are being very thorough. We're not skipping any steps, but time is of the essence to try and move this thing forward. Let's go to the next slide, please. So once again, here's a picture of Governor Brown and Governor Inslee signing the memorandum of intent. $90 million was dedicated by both states to get us through this planning effort and into the early design phases. So as I mentioned, Move Ahead Washington revenue package allocates $1 billion to fund Washington's share of the construction costs. And we are once again looking to go before Oregon for a similar ask in the 20.
Always money for pork barrels, no money for people. Unlimited money for pork barrels. But don't listen to me. I'm just some quack ex-bus driver. I'm dumb, stupid. Endless money for the elites and their pork barrels. Zero money for you.
23 legislative session. One of the things that's different is that this year we have a bi-state legislative committee that provides oversight and guidance, and we meet with them on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, this late this winter and this spring, we've been meeting with them twice a month to keep them up to speed.
Stop this for a minute. See all these down here? All these governmental, all crime syndicates, every one of them. All of them are making lots of money for everybody involved in them.
On what is occurring and getting their input to move this forward. And this is a list of the partner agencies that are working, and Trimet has been a fantastically important and cooperative partner in moving this forward, along with...
Why is Trimet even involved in this? Okay, it's a bridge. Okay, so maybe they'll have some transit over it. I know the light rail mafia's demands they put that in there because as we know, those of us who watch this, light rail is a never-ending pork barrel. Not only does it's a huge pork barrel to put it in, but it's a never-ending pork barrel to maintain it. And then it's not reliable at all. It's one of the most unreliable forms of public transportation.
C-Tran on this transit issue.
And I'll be dead by the time this is, I'll be long dead by the time this ever happens. But in the meantime, all these people will be making fortunes off it.
We also have Metro, Southwest Regional Transportation Council, City of Portland, City of Vancouver, and both ports are the active partners, transportation partners who are helping guide this program forward. Next slide, please. So this slide is a graphic of what our advisory groups and where input is taken to the program administration. So you'll see at the bottom we have an equity advisory group.
An equity advisory group. An equity advisory to build a bridge. They have an equity advisory to make a bridge. That's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. An equity advisory group. This shit is, I don't know, I can't even handle this. Listening to these people anymore, they're like puke-worthy, all of them. All of these technocrats just make me want to smash this computer. An equity advisory group to build a fucking bridge.
They're equally represented by individuals and community-based organizations on each side of the river.
Sure.
So we are listening intently to the advice that are coming out of these groups. They also provide input to the executive steering group, which is made up of the 10 principles of the groups on the last slide. We also have other decision makers, such as our federal partners, Federal Transit Administration, Federal Highway Administration, that are funding partners and have oversight responsibilities. We also have the United States Coast Guard and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers that we will be seeking permits from to make this whole project happen. And that top box is the Bi-State Legislative Committee that I spoke of. Next slide, please. So we often get the question, why? What is the need for this bridge to be replaced? So as most of you know, there are two bridges that carry I-5 over the Columbia River side by side. And the oldest of these bridges are 105 years old and the other is 64 years old. And so they have performed admirably for this region, but it is now time to modernize and replace these bridges with a multimodal, modern set of bridges that can support more than just the highway mode. So these are the 6 purpose and need statements associated with the program, and these statements have still.
Well, I see this guy is about as articulate as Sam.
Exist. They will not get better if we do nothing. So we know that safety, impaired freight movement, and congestion are key. But one of the pressing issues is the earthquake vulnerability that exists for this existing bridge. The oldest of the bridges are built on wood piles and silty soils, and we do not know that this bridge would survive a major earthquake if the Cascadia subduction does happen. So we also know that there are inadequate bike and pedestrian paths. So these paths are narrow, and if you've ever walked or ridden a bike across this bridge, you know that when someone else is coming, you have to skinny yourself up in front of the bridge structure itself right next to traffic to allow folks to pass by. And finally, there is limited public transportation. The governor has put out the challenge of bringing high-capacity transit to this corridor. We have existing express bus, which we will be enhancing with this. This will be a multi-phased investment. We will also be looking at
Oh, God.
bus on.
This is going to be painful to listen to because he's not articulate. He's not a good speaker. I mean, at least get somebody who knows how to public speak, like a Dougie type guy who at least was entertaining. You know, you're going to have some giant thing like this.
Shoulder across the bridge, as well as other enhancements to transit to make sure we are meeting all of the needs and goals of the communities for high capacity transit in this corridor. Next slide, please. So we also heard from the partners that equity and climate are key priorities. Our
Equity and climate. You're building a bridge!
Program for a mega project across the country is unique in that we have both a principal equity officer and a principal climate
They have an equity officer. Oh my God.
officer that report to me and are looking for best practices and best ways to make this the most equitable mega project, as well as the most climate friendly mega project in the country. So we know that in the past, communities of concern.
This is such bullshit. But what are you talking about this for? It's a construction project. You build a construction project. It's nothing to do with equity.
BIPOC, folks with disabilities, limited English proficiency, lower income, houseless individuals, immigrants and refugees, young people, and older adults have at times been minimized in these type of mega project discussions. So we have focused on that engagement with these communities and getting their feedback as to what they need to see for this program to be equitable. We are also supporting.
Oh, God. I can't watch these. I cannot watch these. I can't listen to this. I can't listen to these babbling technocrats feeding us this garbage, okay? I'm sorry. I can't take it. I cannot watch this shit.